So I think until we sort this out, but what I want to say is, WTO is a cooperative. So it's not that Pascal Lamy does not want good results. It's not the WTO doing it to the countries. It is the countries that have to come together to agree. And we mustn't give up. Even if it means repeating it almost like a mantra, we have to get back to the trade issue. You know, world trade, I think, you know, Africa is only 2% of world trade. Very tiny. We need to grow that. We need to trade not just in primary commodities, but in value added. We need to begin to process things in our countries. So that, we need this open trade, because we've got to trade our way out of our problem and, you know, and be able to generate employment and value creation. On the issue of the debt trap, I think it's an excellent question and observation. One of the things that one worries continuously, and at the bank we are doing these analyses, you know, to look at the debt sustainability of each country, because you don't want to have this debt forgiveness, including the HIPIC in which the bank and the fund participated, and the other multilateral institutions, and then have the countries again emerge. That is why for certain categories of countries now they get only grants. You know, the poorer, fragile countries like Liberia, Sierra Leone, etc., they get only grants, they don't get loans, because we don't want to recreate the problem. Others get grants plus soft loans. You know, as you move further up the food chain in terms of your economy, you get that. Now, revenues are falling. That's why we have been strong advocates that don't let these countries fall back into the debt trap during this time. Therefore, the international community has to step up to the plate to increase the grant resources and the soft, you know, what we call the IDA resources to these countries, well, mainly grants. So we are very much keeping that. I don't have any other answers because, as you said, revenues may be falling. Generating their own internal resources at this time of crisis is not a very big option. So we have to step in. And they have to do some internal measures themselves, not to overspend during this time. Then the strategy for wealth creation for non-mineral countries. Yes, thank you. We mustn't fall into the trap of thinking Africa is one big, it's very heterogeneous continent, and it's not one big thing with everybody exporting minerals. No, that's not what it's about. So the issue, even for those that are commodity exporters, I don't believe that that's the right strategy to build a country. You've got to think of how do you use the resources from there to generate you know, wealth elsewhere in the economy. So for Kenya, you've got agriculture, you begin to do, you're now big in some non-traditional exports like flowers, which, you know, is becoming, Kenya I think is now the biggest exporter on the African continent, and it's going very well. So you've got to look at what are your sources of growth in the country. Now, agriculture is one, and if you can couple growing food to feed yourselves, because that's the #1 priority anywhere, feed yourself. When you finish that, if you can now look at non-traditional exports, develop this tourism to new heights, put in the infrastructure you need. It could be a money earner of untold proportions. And one set of services, even in my country, when I used to say, people would laugh. I said, look, Nigeria can be the film or video capital of, it is already, only I didn't know it. I was very ignorant, you know, about these videos that everybody watches until I went to Uganda for a meeting when I was finance minister. You know, I saw running after me in the corridor was one of the cleaners, you know, in the hotel, because I was dressed like this, and she stopped me. Excuse me, are you Nigerian? I said, yes. Now, what have I done? You know, because Nigerians are always guilty of something. You know? But she said, oh, I love your films. And I said, our films? Really? Yeah. And she said, yes, I watch them every day. So when I got back home, I then asked people, I told this story, and they said, of course, and there's even a channel called African Magic. And I was totally ignorant of all this. But when I discovered, not the movies, I think some of them are horrific. You know, but I said, wow, we have this, and I found out we have a whole industry churning out these horrible movies that everybody loves, you know, and they're exporting actors. I became one of their biggest champions. And you know what, Nigerians were not listening. When you say we can turn this into a real industry, they just tune out, oh, you know, because if you're a film, if you're an actor and actress at home, it's just a peripheral career, it's not real. Just wait until those people start making big money, and then they'll start rushing. But you know, I'm just giving that as an illustration of a services industry. Let's not close our minds. There's a lot that Kenya can do. I think that's the last question.
Thank you very much.